2015, an elite DFS Army Commando unit formed to bring high-level DFS strategy to the masses. Today, hated by DFS sharks and lineup sellers alike, they continue their quest to turn Joe into DFS pros.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is your DFS Army Daily Dispatch brought to you by DFSArmy.com, and I am your host today, BoomersDaddy, and joining me from a long-awaited vacation, my boo, your boo, Mr. Bear. How we doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Oh my gosh, dude. So holidays in my family are kind of crazy. And it was a very, very good, but very, very long day. Let's just say it was backed up by a little bit longer of a night. Little man wanted mama all night. And so daddy only got about 2 hours of sleep. Maybe 3. So... It was a long night and been going hardcore all morning and so it's been a lot of fun. Got the OU game tonight, so looking forward to sealing another Big 12 title game berth, and some more college football today. And oh yeah, there's this little thing called basketball. Nice little 12-game slate that we have. So
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, that's today. That's going on right now. So, how was your Thanksgiving, man? You had a nice little Mexico vacation. Come back and get to eat turkey, and then jump right back into one of the larger slates of the year.
Yeah. So Mexico was nothing short of spectacular. We basically stayed on a beach resort. I sent you pictures. Our balcony was the beach. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Palm trees. I mean, it was needed. I hadn't had a vacation in almost 2 years now. So, took my wife, took my oldest, spent about 5-6 days there, basically escaping these fires, from hell to paradise. So it was a nice little transition. So that was good. And then, we came back and actually didn't really have any Thanksgiving plans because the plan was for us to be gone for so long that we were just going to come back and hang out. So I had another carne asada burrito from a local Mexican place.
There you go.
Couldn't get enough.
There you go. And, okay, so let's get right into it here.
Yep.
DraftKings, normally I complain when the sites aren't synced up because it makes my job a little bit more difficult on the back end. But I actually like what they did today. DraftKings is starting at normal time, 6 Central. And then Fanduel is actually starting half an hour later. So I can focus on DraftKings, and then when DraftKings gets done, I can focus on Fanduel. So the game that's off of the Fanduel slate that we're going to basically, because we go position by position, the game that's off of that Fanduel slate, we're going to talk about real quick so our DraftKings guys don't get, mixed up at all. Yeah. It's Detroit and Houston. Detroit's the home team. They're actually 4.5-point dogs. This total is a 215. Okay. For me, considering it's part of the main slate on DraftKings, outside of James Harden, possibly in tournaments, and a little bit of Clint Capella paired up with him.
Yes, that's where I was going, is Capella.
I don't have any interest on the Rockets. It's just those two, and I want them paired up. I've got you speechless on the first freaking thing of
No,
the day.
I lost your sound for a second there, so I didn't know what happened.
Oh no, I want Capella and Harden paired up, and
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two that I like as well. I think also I may have a little bit of interest in Blake Griffin, and I'll tell you why I have interest in
Oh,
Blake
I was
Griffin.
just talking about the Rockets.
Oh, gotcha. I think that game. So from the Rockets, it is pretty much those two. Maybe a little bit of PJ Tucker. That's a big maybe. If I'm looking for some value there, he's probably going to be matched up with Blake on the other end. Blake's good on offense, but it's about the only side of the ball he's good on nowadays. So, yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. By the way, Spencer Dinwiddie is absolutely balling right now. Absolutely balling.
Lo and behold, I don't have him in my lineup. So
Oh,
I went with Jeff Teague.
Awesome.
So
I went both. I got both of those guys, Teague and Dinwiddie.
Yeah, there was some overlay in the. I wasn't gonna play, and there was some overlay in the $1 single entry on FanDuel. So I made a team with like 90 seconds left to go, and just threw it together. So, our buddy Al Walsh is at the game, and as we say this, I'm watching Nets Twitter just absolutely go into a complete what's the word I'm looking for? Depression. So it's kind of funny.
Is it getting blown out now?
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so for the Detroit Pistons, I don't like Drummond and pace-up games. I like him more in the slow down type of games where he can, especially with the Rockets, and where he can be around the basket. But I do like Blake Griffin here. I think it's a good spot for him again. If I'm not mistaken, we just saw this matchup, didn't we?
Was it while I was gone or before?
No, it was Wednesday. Yeah, we just saw this game in Houston on Wednesday.
And I believe Detroit won the game?
Yeah, Houston won 126 to 124.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Houston won 126 to 124. But if you look at what, like, Harden and Capella went off, and I knew I had talked about these guys at one point. Blake went off, and then Drummond didn't even crack 40 DK points. So your boy PJ Tucker, 15.5. So, but we were kind of on him. He's cheap, so I don't mind going back there again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just you're gonna see another game kind of like it is. It might be a little bit slower in pace, but I still expect I still expect the Rockets to win. So,
yeah.
And Cat has 17 of his 19 points on the quarter.
I mean, I
He
told you
sucks.
guys in the Slack, he's gonna come out swinging. I mean, it's not over.
Yeah. Sam did point out that, he didn't start really balling until Jared Allen went out with his fourth foul, so.
Well, I mean, Cat's got his fourth foul now, so he's joining him on the bench.
Oh, man. All right, so let's get it going here. Let's go position by position. Just wanted to go. And you can take, I guess, some of those plays and use them on the single game that FanDuel has. So there are only 3. You'll have to fill in the other 2. Just kind of use the sim model, use the tools, and go from there. Use the DS. So let's work with yeah. Oh yeah. Let's work with point guards here. Russell Westbrook at home versus Charlotte, 11K on FanDuel.
Yes, please.
Yeah. just don't overthink it, and people are going to look at that game log and be like, oh well, he sucked against Golden State, this was his rivalry and this was his blah blah blah. No, he kind of didn't. He did exactly what he needed to do. His shot wasn't falling, so he attacked the basket when he needed to. Still got almost 50, and still got your triple-double and got everybody else involved. Paul George was hot, and Steven Adams was playing a good game, and, Golden State was doing Golden State things, and he didn't need to do everything. So, there's going to be games like this at time. It's the maturity and the growth of Russell Westbrook. He knows that he's not the only guy that has to carry this team anymore, so he's not worried about getting his all the time like he used to be, because he knows he's got Paul George. He knows he's got a dominant present post in Steven Adams. And, Jeremy Grant played well or had, good contributions. And TLC had a good contribution. And, Dennis Schroeder was absolutely on fire. So, he didn't need to do a lot. But you give me 11K Russell Westbrook on a 12-game slate after he kind of just laid a dud a little bit, I guess is what you would call it, on the stud standpoint, considering that, Giannis went for 70, AD went for 70, LeBron went for 60. I'll take that because I think his ownership's going to be lower.
It should be. It should be, especially on a large slate, so many games with that many studs. Yeah, but on the flip side of that, though, considering he's the lowest priced one, he might see a little bit more than we might expect, but I'm okay with it. This is the matchup I want. They're going to be, they're going to be at home, which I always love. We've got a 230.5 total on this game, tied for the second on the slate, next to tied with Washington, Toronto.
Milwaukee and Phoenix.
Yeah, which is right. And then you've got Pelicans and Knicks. Pelicans are always going to be over. But, on the high end. But Thunder are only favored by 6.5. The other games are much larger. So I think we have a lot to like about this game. We're going to talk about a shooting guard in this game when we get to the shooting guards that you and I and Luz are both all over. So hard to turn that down.
Yep, absolutely. So a lot to like about this game. Let's talk about the guy that's going up against him, Kemba Walker, real quick. He's having a monster year. I'm a little torn. I think that he's a good play in tournaments if you want to ping pong him, but that's probably the extent of my love for Kemba Walker.
So we're on opposite ends here. I actually really like the play a lot. I think playing him and Westbrook in tournaments is exactly what I want to do, like you just said, the ping pong side of it. But if I'm looking for a 9K range, it's for me. It's really going to be between Dame and Kemba at the 9K range. Those are the two that I'm like, where do I go?
Yeah, we'll talk about Damian Lillard here in just a moment.
And on FanDuel, they're $100 apart. Dame is $100 more. So that's kind of the only thing that might lower my exposure to Kemba is because Dame is only 100 more going against the Warriors, a team that's really been struggling in the Hammer game. There's a lot to like about that game. We've got surprisingly only a 218.5 total on that game, but it's Golden State's actually favored by 2.
Which I don't understand, but
I don't either.
It's got to be the home team thing.
I think I know what it is. It's historically Portland just they do not know how to guard the small forward. The Warriors have a pretty decent small forward on their team.
Really?
So I'm thinking,
you think so?
Yeah, he's okay.
Cupcake's pretty good.
He's got some frosting on him.
Some sprinkles.
Yeah, definitely sprinkled. So I think that's going to be obviously this is a lot for what Vegas thinks Durant's going to do, but there's nobody on that team that's going to be able to guard Damian Lillard. So, and I want my exposures to that game. That game, and your other option for the Hammer is Jazz Lakers. Between those two games, even though the total is higher for Jazz Lakers, there's going to be less defense, I think, being played, Portland Golden State. So I kind of want to target that game late versus, Utah, LA, but I'll have plays from both that I like for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way that I'm probably going to handle it is Kemba's going to be on FanDuel, and then I'm probably going to play Kyrie on DraftKings, just because of the fact that he's $600 cheaper on DraftKings, or $500 cheaper, I'm sorry. But that's if I don't play Damian Lillard. Let's talk about Ben Simmons here real quick. He finally looked aggressive. Now, I'm not sure if he's testing his ceiling currently. Steph Curry was involved in a multi-vehicle crash on Highway 24 in Oakland. It looks like he's uninjured, but that car, that Ferrari, Steph, whew.
I mean, what'd you expect, bro? That's NBA money.
Oh, I expected him to go a little bit better.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, I didn't expect I mean, I guess, you roll in Oakland, you roll pitch black, but okay, whatever. But anyways, Ben Simmons, he looked aggressive, but I wonder if he's testing his ceiling at the 45 to 50 mark. And then, the outliers are going to be the 55 to 60s, or if somebody's out. And just because, you've got three basically alpha dogs there on the Sixers now, so I'm wondering if his price has to come down more in order for us to really start to see some of that profit.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I think before I'm able to comfortably play him at 10K, look, the matchup is dreamy, right? I mean, it's
dreamy.
It's dreamy. It's
dreamy.
Tough to say no. But at the same time, I mean, there's just so much value here that I would rather look to play at this spot than pay 10K for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. The one thing I will note or point out though is he's a much better play on DraftKings where he's 8,800.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean,
fair enough.
DK, okay. So DK, can we get with the program here a little bit, please? Like, you're telling me I have to make a decision between Ben Simmons, Drew Holiday, and Kyle Lowry at 8,000?
Kyle Lowry.
Or Eric Bledsoe at 69? Like, can we get back to a little tougher pricing? I know what you guys are doing, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Not that they care what I like.
They don't.
So,
but it's tough.
Yeah, FanDuel's been now FanDuel kind of lacks on their pricing. I'll give them the fact they probably had their offices closed yesterday and ran it really early on Wednesday, and
does it matter? It doesn't matter. This is what you guys do.
Yeah, but if they left the office early on Friday or early on Wednesday, then I can give them the pass for the day.
Sure, I get it.
Because there was no NBA yesterday, so they probably left a little early because of the holiday. So I'll give them the pass. It's just let's get back to it. So
yeah.
Kyrie against Atlanta, great play, no doubt about that at all. Let's talk about Mr. Lowry here. Lowry going against a disinterested John Wall lately.
By the way,
on the defensive
before you continue, I see your luxury sports car knowledge is not up there. That's a Porsche. That's not. I couldn't,
dude. I don't have my glasses on and I don't wear contacts. So like my Twitter, like I've got 6 inches for 2 lines on TweetDeck. And the pictures come across small because I want to see the actual words and not the pictures most of the time. So I didn't really look.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And who calls it Porsche? I thought it was Porsche.
Depends on what part of the country you're in.
Okay, well down here we call it Porsche. Anyways, we're having fun today. So we're having fun. Okay, so Kyle Lowry, John Wall's been extremely disinterested in defense. The Washington ADVP versus point guards is not good.
No.
I don't know how Washington goes into Toronto with 2 days of rest with Kawhi, and probably a more rested Kyle Lowry. I don't know how OG's probably going to be back, if I remember that correctly. So I don't know how they go in there, and like, this would be a statement game. Like, okay, if you're going to turn your season around, this is a statement game where John Wall, Bradley Beal, Otto Porter, you go in and you live up to your talent that you were talking at the beginning of the season.
Absolutely. This is your chance.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. This is how you open some eyes. But the question is, do they have it in them? I just don't understand. I don't think that they do.
This is the most perplexing team on the season so far.
Yeah,
like,
it's tough to figure it out.
And it honestly, okay, maybe it's a toss-up between them and Sacramento, but Sacramento is perplexing on the good side. This is a team that, when we talked at the beginning of the season, they were going to push for a 4 seed, and they might not even make the playoffs.
No.
Like, their core might not even be there come All-Star break. That's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, people are calling for Scott Brooks' head. This is not Scott Brooks' fault, and he's not going anywhere. He's got 3 years and $21 million left on his contract. You don't want to pay. NBA owners do not like, unless your name is Dan Gilbert, do not like paying multiple head coaches at the same time.
Sure.
Unless you're a Russian that owns an NBA team, because there's a couple of them that are doing that. Or your name is Dan Gilbert. Or you're the Knicks. So there's like 4 guys that will. But the rest of them, they don't like doing that. They'll pay 1 year, but they don't want to pay Scott Brooks 3 years, $21 million to go away. When, as soon as they do, he's going to go be an advisor for somebody and then be right back on the side or the bench next season. He's a good coach. It's something is going on in the locker room that nobody knows about. I don't know who dissed whose mama or sister or brother.
Let's just talk about what's been put out in the news, and that is that John Wall, his teammates think that he's more concerned with himself than the team.
Yeah. They
don't feel like he's the leader. They don't feel like he is. Again, I'm not part of any of these conversations. This is just what's being reported. The rest of the team's kind of like, well, if he doesn't care, why should we? And if all he cares about is his stats and his contract, then what are we doing here?
Yeah, but he's got his contract now.
He does, but he's still about himself.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like, there was so much to unpack last week. Man, I missed you, but we're gonna have to speed it up after this.
Yeah.
When you drop an F-bomb to your coach because he wants you to raise the level of intensity in practice because you guys are at the time 4-11 or 5-11 or whatever it was, and you basically tell him to go F himself, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're gonna get fined, but I'm also gonna. I would have sat him down.
Ride the pine. Absolutely.
Actually, I would have told him, get out of the facility. I don't want to see you. We'll let you know when you can come back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's more politics too, right?
Yeah, I mean CBA.
You and I would do that.
I don't think the NBA
it's not even just
has
CBA. I think it's optics. I think they didn't want to make it worse than it already looked. You go out and you put somebody and you say don't come back. It makes it look even worse. So
yeah, but at least then you look like you're trying to take control of the situation.
Sure.
Because now it looks like everybody's just kind of lollygagging around and doing what they want to do, and like they're saying the things that they care and all this other stuff, but like they're not doing it on the court. Like we've seen glimpses of what this team can do, but anyways, okay. So Kyle Lowry, John Wall defense is has the ability to be there, but I think Kyle Lowry is still too cheap. Even with Kawhi back, $8,000 in this matchup is still very, very good. I love Lowry here.
And by the way, he will go underlooked.
Yes, he will, because we need to run through some of this value here a little bit before we get to it. Just want to point out real quick, Eric Bledsoe revenge narrative.
Love it.
If you didn't, we'll talk about it probably in notes. If you don't remember what happened and how he kind of ended up leaving Phoenix. Okay, so
he's at the barbershop, man. He's at the barbershop.
Yep, exactly. I want to say congrats to Luce. He nailed this guy right on the head. I kind of looked at him when I read these notes the other day and asked him what he was thinking. Trey Burke versus New Orleans. He absolutely had a monster game. The problem is it's the Knicks. And let's talk about the problems, then we'll talk about the good, because there's a lot of good to go with it. The problem is it's the Knicks. The problem is that I think he's going to see a lot of Drew Holiday. Now, Drew Holiday without Elfrid Payton is not as interested in defense, but the ability is there. And I think he's more interested in defense than John Wall is. So, and the problem is they've got Emmanuel Mudiay. They're not going to run Mudiay at the 2, or they didn't, because you've got Tim Hardaway Jr., who's going to run a lot of the 2. Also, there's another issue. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a high-usage guard, and it's really, really hard to see him going back-to-back. Now, the good, as far as huge games. Now, the good thing is he's still really cheap, and he's going to play as long as everything goes according to plan. And remember, it's the Knicks, it's Tisdale. We heard him say 3 times last week, we're still feeling these guys out, putting them in different situations, playing them in different rotations to figure out who works best together. Understand this. Every time you roster a Knick, there's the possibility that he's going to be put in a different situation than he was the day before or the week before, because they are trying to find out and build something and see who's going to be on this team next year and the upcoming years after that. Remember, they still have Kristaps Porzingis that's on the mend and probably won't play this year, so they want to build around him, and they're looking for guys on who's going to fit, who's going to play hard, and who's going to be part of this team in the future. Trey Burke was a guy coming out of Michigan that we loved. At least I did.
Yeah.
Especially in that Final Four. And this might be his shot. And to be honest, I think he's running out of shots. He's still young, but as far as to be a starting point guard and be a part of a major part of a team instead of a 7th or 8th guy off the bench, this might be his best shot right now. He's getting the opportunity, and I'm not worried about Emmanuel Mudiay being better than him, but I am worried about Emmanuel Mudiay getting hot and taking minutes.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't know, it's tough for me to kind of take any sort of risk in that situation because of what you said. Look, when somebody first decide is going to get the start over there with the Knicks, that's one thing, because then at least I know he's going to be given a look. They're going to give him. They want to see what he's got.
Right.
But a game, 2 games, 3 games into that starting gig, you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Fizz can pull him and bring in, I forgot the little white dude's name. I mean, you just don't know. So it's a little bit hard
Rod
for
Baker.
me to. Yeah, Baker. By the way, Baker's hometown, they made a mural out of hay that's exactly a copy of his face. It's fantastic. It's really
awesome.
Cool. It's really
that's what you get in the Midwest and farm country, brother.
Exactly. He's right. He was you practice in the farm. It's crazy. All out Larry Bird. Remember those days. Yeah. But so by the way, Brooklyn came back. It's a pretty close game.
Yeah, I've been watching Twitter. I didn't want to talk about it.
Shout out to Walsh.
Not that it matters to me. It's just more of a, we're behind, we're up against it, and we've got a lot to talk about still.
Yeah, so a little bit more about just a few more point guards here that I want to talk about. We'll move on. So,
please talk about him. Please talk about him. I just saw this.
I don't know who you're talking about now. Now you got me confused. Who are you on?
There's two guys I'm on, and they're $400 difference on Fanduel. One of them is Terry Rozier. He's $3,900, and they're going up against Atlanta. Yeah. I don't normally predict blowouts, but if you want to play the blowout card, and the guy's going to get 20-plus minutes anyways, but if you want to play the blowout card, then he could be approaching the 30-minute mark.
I see. So all right. So I was looking at a couple other guys. First guy I was looking at is Corey Joseph. A couple of reasons. Number one, we already know that Oladipo is not going to play. He's already been ruled out. He's been playing almost 30 minutes a game, Corey Joseph. That's number two. Number three, he's playing his old team, the Spurs. And I know that they love him there. Popovich always talks and praises Corey Joseph, how much he loved him and all that stuff. But again, guys love showing out for their old teams. It's just against their old teams. It's just the way it is. Joseph is $4,200 on FanDuel. I think that's a fantastic price for what he can do. Not in love with the pace of the game, but that's okay for Corey Joseph. He's not a run and gun kind of guy, anyways. I will have a few shares of him. Did you see? I mean, I'm not going to play him because of the matchup, but did you see the other night Satoransky played 32 minutes?
I did not.
I was like, what the hell? He did. And he put up 12x, which was nuts. So the other guy that I want to talk about here is going to be Corey Joseph's backcourt mate, and that's Darren Collison. So both of these two should be much more inclined to have their usages increase without Oladipo. We still have Miles Turner and Sabonis questionable from there, which just means more opportunities as well. Something to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. The next guy I want to talk about is actually Ryan Arcidiacono. He's he's playing the minutes, man. Yeah. And they actually really like this kid. Now, the problem with this is that Shaq Harrison's been playing very, very well. Mm-hmm. But Archie is playing well as they're playing on the court at the same time, and they're both playing well. I don't know if there's anything to really gleam off of a future for either of these guys, but they're both playing very well. Now it was against Phoenix. I do want to make that claim. Okay, it was against Phoenix, but it's not like Miami without Goran Dragic, without Tyler Johnson, and you're going up against the I love the guy, but he's a shell of his former self. Dwayne Wade, Wayne Ellington. You're going up against these guys. They're cheap enough to where in cash games, I don't mind you going there. I don't think they have the upside for tournaments, but if you need some savings in cash and you want to lock in some minutes for cheap, I think both Harrison and Archie are really, really, really good plays. Now, Harrison's not going to play more than about 20-ish minutes. Archie is the guy you would want to go to, I think. But the minutes are there, and he doesn't have to do much, and he's been doing enough to where he's not going to kill you, and he gives you that value.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's definitely not going to kill you. I mean, at the end of the day, you want the minutes. and that's what he's getting. So it's hard to pass on that. So I'm with you there. Just there's so many value plays here at the point guard today. I mean, we didn't even really talk about DJ Augustine, who's cheap. We've got Jeremy Lin, who you talk about the blowout scenario could play. So yeah, I mean, Aaron Holiday has been getting more minutes since Depot's been out. So lots of ways to go. We will continue to monitor the news and update all of our folks in our VIP chat forums.
Yep. Okay, so we just spent about 25 minutes on point guards here. We got to fly through the rest of these guys. Okay. So let's go to shooting guard here.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday, 8,500 at the point against the Knicks. I think he's a better play on FanDuel because he is, well, okay, maybe not. He's 8,300 on DK. I thought he was 8,800 on DK. So Drew Holiday, 8,500. I've got a little bit of interest here, but probably not a lot. I like other guys for a lot better that are cheaper. So the top end of the shooting guards, I'm probably not going to touch a lot of.
Yeah, as far as the very, very top end goes,
yeah. I'm anybody over 8K.
I've only got one exception, and that's only for tournaments. But besides that, I mean, I just want to play some Zach LaVine, just because I like him at home. But again, that's strictly our tournament play. But yeah, as far as over 8K, not much I like either. So I'm right there with you.
Devin Booker,
under
79.
Yeah. I'm probably going to have a lot of Booker. Primarily, I mean, the Bucks have just struggled to guard the shooting guard. This guy is the offense for this team. I mean, it's going to be hard for me not to play Booker. I mean, if this game is going to stay at all close, I mean, Vegas has the Bucks by 13.5, but I'm going to have a lot of Booker. I don't see how Booker doesn't put up at least 50 here. I mean, just given what the Bucks have done, or technically not done, versus the shooting guard, it's going to be hard for me to say no.
I think I'm going to have to pass on Devin Booker just because I think the length that Chris Middleton's going to give him fits. Because
he's probably going to not see as much Middleton as we think. I think we're going to see a lot more of another really good defender in the Senator.
That makes me even like him less.
Not for me, because the length is what would bother me. I think he can shoot over most of their guards there. But yeah, I mean, look, they're a good defensive team. There's no question about that. I've just been looking at what they've been doing to that point, to the shooting guard spot as of late, and I like what I see, and we know what his upside is. So that's what's got me intrigued.
Okay. Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. I'm just like, I like guys better. Let's talk about the other side of that matchup there. Chris Middleton.
Yes,
he's yes, please pair him with Giannis. Move on.
Yes and no. I mean, I think you can pair him, or you don't have to pair him with Giannis. You can just play him.
Well, yeah, you don't have to,
as we say. But and I say that because I really, it's going to be hard for me not to play Anthony Davis versus New York. So if I'm going to go for that higher priced stud, I want it to be AD. But if you feel like you're missing out on the team that's going up against Phoenix, which is always somebody you want to target, and you don't want to pay 11 something for Giannis, then you can go to Middleton for 7 and get your exposure through him. I mean, he's got 50-point upside. We've seen it, so we know he can do it, especially versus this team. So
yep. And you can add in, Eric Bledsoe to that as well, and that'll help increase your exposure to Giannis if you want to fade Giannis and go somebody else. So
yeah, absolutely.
Donovan Mitchell troll game, bounce back.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Mitchell already, man. It's early, but I mean, especially we're looking like Josh Hart's like an in-time decision. And I bring that up because, what they would typically do is if he starts going off, they would throw Hart in there and say, go stop him.
Yep.
I mean, you're not going to stop him, but slow him down. But, yeah, I mean, that would be my only issue there. But I think it's I'm going to have a lot of him, man.
CJ McCollum.
It's hard not to like that game. I mean, you've got, Lillard at 3K more. If you don't want to pay up there and you want your exposure, get it through CJ. I mean, this is going to be a game where a lot of shots are going to go up. So when a lot of shots go up, you want the Stephs, you want the Clays, you want the CJs, you want the Dames. I mean, you want those guys. So even Aminu, right? So, yeah, I love the upside. If you're not going to play Booker, I mean, these guys both have red hot ability. So CJ is not a bad play for less.
Yep, and you could also throw in with the Donovan Mitchell, Chris Middleton tier. You can throw in Tim Hardaway Jr.
Sure.
Going against New Orleans. Okay, let's talk about him. Your favorite, my favorite, Luce's favorite, Dennis Schroeder. Talk to me about the German.
Yeah, so this is going to be your cash chalk play. You might even play him in tournaments because of the upside here. So since Westbrook came back, so before Westbrook came back, Schroeder was at, 9K?
Yeah, he was approaching 9K.
Westbrook came back. He's been back for, 3 games now. Schroeder's price dropped all the way to 6K. So you're thinking...
2 games.
2 games what?
Russ has been back for 2 games now.
Oh, gotcha. So then you're looking. So then Fanduel's like, oh, okay, well Russ is back, so he's back with the second unit. So let's drop Schroeder's price to 6K. He's at 6K. Well, now the Thunder don't have a single shooting guard left. It's Diallo is going to be out for a while. Abrinas might play, I think. He actually went through shoot around.
Yeah, and he was active the other night. Now it was a little bit different situation. He was active the other night, but he didn't play. And Schroeder still got 29 minutes. Look. He's the best unit. He's going to be initiating the offense. And, with Ferguson now out again, Diallo out again. I said this on Wednesday. I thought the sites, like with both Paul George and Dennis Schroeder, I thought they overcorrected. Like, I loved them both.
Yeah.
Going into the Golden State game, and they both went off. And I really thought they overcorrected, and it has not corrected itself yet. And like you said, chalk. I mean,
yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to really get away from it. Any interest from Rodney McGruder?
I've been kind of looking at McGruder all day, and I know they've got. There are 2 guards out there. So, we know he's going to get the minutes. He's in a fantastic matchup versus the Chicago Bulls. I don't see why we wouldn't play him at under 5K at those kinds of minutes. I think you're going to find a lot of strong value plays from the Heat. And the good news is they're playing the Bulls, so you can actually play that value. So, yeah, I'm good with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think with the point guards out, then he becomes more of a play. Jordan Clarkson against Philly. Just keep playing him until we say otherwise. Let's talk about one of the chalk fails of the other night. He still ended up with a decent game, but let's talk about David Nwaba. I know he's one of your favorites.
Yeah.
No, okay, he didn't end up with a decent game. He ended up with a 14.
No, it was bad. It was actually 14 was decent when you consider he was 0 at halftime.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, Nwaba is one of my favorites, not fantasy wise. One of my favorites just because of his story and his motor and his hustle and his drive to, give everything he's got on every single possession. He's still really priced really cheap, so that's okay. And if you're playing over there on FanDuel, if he's your drop the score candidate, fine. But on DK, where you don't get that option, or if you're looking to have another, drop your score and think Nwaba can actually put up 30, it's not something to expect. He'll do it, but it's not something to expect every game.
I think he's going to be a lot lower owned than he was the other night, just because he was basically, he was chalkier than, he was one of the chalkiest guys on the slate, and just absolutely, let's just call it for what it is. 14 is laying a dud. Now, we don't have him projected very well, but I think this is a nice little bounce back spot too.
I don't hate it. He's cheap enough to where it's not that big of a deal. By the way, that dribbler that you mentioned, I'm in 200th place in climbing. So yeah, I think he's certainly in play. I wouldn't play him over on DK because his biggest upside is steals and blocks and that kind of thing. He's not a big scorer. He can get you some rebounds. He will get you some steals. He will block some shots for a guard. He runs the break really well. I don't hate it, but you got to understand Philly's got a guy there that plays some pretty decent defense.
Yep, absolutely.
So I don't know. I'm not in love with him.
I just mentioned him because he was cheap. All right, let's move on to small forwards here. There's still a lot to kind of unpack here. Let's talk about the first four guys at the top of the price point. Giannis, obviously, against Phoenix. If you're fading, it's due to, hopefully he doesn't hit 60 or 70, or 70 or 80. LeBron James against Utah.
I'm not going to play.
I'm not either.
Not here. I'd rather play Giannis if I'm playing the price.
For $100 more. Now, I will mention that over on DraftKings, they are $400 apart. Giannis is 11.4 and LeBron is 11. But I still think I would go to probably my favorite play, Kevin Durant.
Whoa.
Not favorite play of the slate, just at the position.
Oh, gotcha. He might even be my favorite on the slate, man. Seriously, Portland just gets smashed here. Like, for me, my top two is Durant, and then the second is actually Mirotic. Those are my two. And we'll talk about why here in a minute. But, how do you not play Durant? It's at home. They've been losing. They want to get back on track against a team that just cannot defend him. He might put up 70, man. Seriously. It's going to be tough
He's
to
done it
Durant
before. In fact, he did it in their second to last matchup that they have because they haven't played this season. His last 3 games against Portland, actually, you can go back to his lowest game since he joined Golden State is a 42, and that was the first one in Portland. After that, it's 57, 55, 50, 51, 69, and 57. So,
yeah, it's
and they don't waste Aminu defense on him. Normally, Aminu's been on Draymond. He's guarded some Iguodala and whoever's at the 5 and stuff like that. But they're not going to waste Aminu defense on Kevin Durant and get one of their best defenders in foul trouble early on and quick because Kevin Durant's going to attack it. So, Paul George, under 9K. I think on both sites here. Yep, on both sites. He's still in play. Not going to go back there. If you want to take a shot on Kawhi Leonard and fade the top 3, then I don't mind it. He's still under 10K. Gets a good matchup against Washington. Otto Porter's not going to be able to hold his salt. So, Gordon Hayward, man. Oh, let's talk about Nikola Mirotic here. What is the...
So for Mirotic, for me, here's the thing, okay? He's small forward here on Fanduel. The reality is he plays the power forward next to AD. AD's listed as power forward. He's actually a center. So we've seen what power forwards do versus the Knicks, primarily scoring power forwards. You get this guy as a small forward, I'm probably going to have about 80% Meritage here, man. I don't see how.
Yeah, and to go on the other side of that matchup, it's probably going to lower my interest in Noah Vonleh because Vonleh's going to have to be away from the rim a little bit more, and that's going to limit his rebounding upside. So I still think he's an okay value, but I'm not as enamored with Vonleh today as I have been the last couple of games. So. Josh Richardson against Chicago, going to be one of the primary ball handlers. I'll take that 7,600 every single day. It seems like he's been between that 7,400 to 7,800 mark on both sites all year. So, TJ Warren against Milwaukee, 7K. Yeah.
Can't do it. Now I've been a huge Warren fan. I've been ever since he came back and went into the starting lineup. I'm telling everyone to play him. Because you know why I told everyone to play him? Because he was gonna be 7K soon, and guess what he is? He's 7K now. That's the first issue. Second issue is he's going to be guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo, and that's not an easy task. So I'm gonna have to pass.
Exactly. So. Tyreek Evans, it hasn't been pretty, guys. It really kind of hasn't been pretty. With Victor Oladipo out, I mean, his high score is a 25. He's playing anywhere between 21 and 27 minutes. I still think he can hit 35 in those 27 minutes. I'm not sure if this is the matchup I want to do it in. But I guess if you want to take a shot for a bounce back in tournaments on a 13-game slate, you're going to get them probably single digits tonight. Gary Harris against Orlando. I'm in love with that spot. Not touching Nick Batum. I don't like it. And I don't know, man. There's a lot down here at the bottom that you could make a case for in playing, but let's get one of your favorites. Who's your favorite value guy, 5K or below?
Can he be in the 5K range?
As long as he's not like 5,800, then yeah.
Well, how about 57? Because I love me some Joe Ingles tonight.
Oh yeah, Joe Ingles is good. Let's get a value guy here though.
Value guy. Okay, no one care. Oh, well, that's easy. So I don't like the matchup so much, but Bojan Bogdanovic has been really doing his thing without Depot. I mean, he's going against the Spurs, which I think the Spurs are kind of that mystique, like, oh, they're the best defensive team. Like, they're not that anymore. Not this year. They're still good, don't get me wrong, but they're not a team that you completely avoid anymore either. I think, but the industry still kind of looks at them like that, and so you're probably not going to see too much Bogdanovic in terms of ownership. So under 5K and a guy that can get hot, put up 40 real points, yeah, I'm with it. That's the first play. Second play I'm looking at here is going to be a little bit of Jay Crowder, and I say that because Crowder will likely get a lot more run here. I mean, he already gets about 30, but he'll probably see a few minutes more here because of the small ball nature. You're going to have Gobert, and then they're not going to run too much Gobert in favors, so it's going to be Gobert, and then they're going to go with Rubio and Mitchell and Ingles and favors here, or excuse me, Crowder here. So Crowder is probably my second favorite over there. I can even play both Ingles and Crowder. I don't have a problem with that. I'm good with that too. If you want to go, value here at the small forward spot.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind that, I guess. I'll tell you a guy that I'm really looking at, and
probably the same guy that I was going to bring up. So please,
Wilson Chandler. He's playing 30 minutes. He doesn't have the same upside as he did when he was with Denver, but that's fine. He doesn't need to as long as he stays this price. You give me 30 minutes under 4K, and it's gonna be hard for me to pass that up. I don't care about the chalk in that aspect. You're telling me I'm gonna get a guy that's playing 30 minutes and he's under 4K, and if versus Cleveland, and if something happens, to a Jimmy Butler getting in foul trouble or, something along those lines, he's going to then ask to be a little bit more aggressive? Yeah, okay. So, moving on. Power forward. We talked about Anthony Davis, obviously, against the Knicks in the Garden. Okay, so Al Horford is going to be out. And I bring this up because that kind of piques my interest a little bit in Jason Tatum.
A lot of it, absolutely. Under 7K. Most importantly, going up against the Hawks. That's juicy, man. That's juicy. You're gonna have, Baines will probably be in the starting lineup. So you don't have the same type of perimeter player that Horford is. So that's going to open up a lot more for Tatum, as well as Gordon Hayward, as well as Kyrie, right? It's going to open up a lot more for the starters in terms of usage and opportunities. So yeah, I'm all for the play.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the game that Tatum's been needing is a game to get him back in the rhythm of being aggressive. I also don't mind the other aspect of that, and John Collins. He's still 5,100. He played 26 minutes the other night. I've got him sitting at 30 right now, so it'll be between 26 and 30. And, he didn't have the greatest game the other night because it was in short spurts. I don't think he was able to get into the rhythm of the game. So if we get word that that's going to change tonight, I really do like me some John Collins.
It's tough to pass on that. I agree. The price is insanely right, and yeah, what more could you ask for there?
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. Wendell Carter Jr. against Miami. I think I'm going to pass tonight just because of the what's going on at the position. Noah Vonleh, I just touched on him a little bit. Serge and Siakam, I guess I don't mind it. I'm not really thrilled about it tonight. Not with Kawhi back. We've seen it happen where Siakam's gone off, even with Kawhi coming back in the lineup, but I just don't think I can do that tonight. Marcus Morris. Kind of the same situation we had with Jason Tatum. With Horford out, he's going to play a lot of the small ball five. I honestly don't see this being a big Aaron Baines game. Just because I don't think that they can run with the Hawks with Aaron Baines on the court. But they can with Marcus Morris. So I like that situation. Daniel Theis, or Tice. Am I saying that right?
Oops, sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay. Tice. So Daniel Tice is going to be in play tonight. He's min price, going to play 22 minutes. He's going to be, as of right now, he's predicted to be one of the more chalkier values of the slate. I promise you that will change. Remember, early value always becomes less owned or less chalky. You could legit get out of here if you wanted to, and you wanted to pay up for other positions of not playing anybody really over 6K and still feel really good about it.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
So,
sure.
All right, let's talk about centers here before we get out. Joel Embiid, he's pretty good. And he's going against Tristan Kardashian.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I think you're not going to see very much ownership on Embiid because of his price.
I would agree with that.
With the guys that we've mentioned, you've got Durant, you've got Anthony Davis, you've got Giannis, you've got LeBron, you've got, I'm sure I missed someone there. There's a lot of guys there that are going to garner those, ownership percentages. You might be able to get a guy here who can put up a 60 plus at like single digits. That's probably the only situation that I'll be playing him. Frankly, myself, I'm going to be probably playing in the more mid tier here today, just because of those other guys that I wanted to play. So that we've been talking about on this whole pod. So I'll probably have, if I'm playing, let's say 20, 25 tournament lineups, I'll probably have him in 2 or 3 for that reason. But outside of that, it's going to be tough to pay that for him.
Okay. I'm going to name off 2 guys. You tell me yay or nay. Actually, I'm going to name off 3 guys here. Okay. Just real quick. Nikola Jokic.
So I like that his price is now down below 10K. I like the matchup a lot versus Orlando. I like the 2 Nikolas going at each other a lot. I like the history there between the 2 players. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to be playing.
Okay. I agree with you. So just want to throw that out there on everything that you just said. Much more affordable and the ability to play them together on DraftKings. So just want to point that out here real quick. Rudy Gobert.
Man, I'm going to have a lot of Gobert.
Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah. So he's still got that probable tag. I mean, I do want to. So the thing about it is, it's knee tendonitis. Man, that scares the crap out of me.
And he's been dealing with it for a couple years.
He has. It's nothing new. And usually right around, 15, 18, 20 game mark is when it's going to start to be an issue. So I'm not going to play him for that reason. Obviously, the matchup versus the Bulls, wonderful, all that. I can actually see them kind of phasing him out a little bit and maybe going a little bit smaller. Maybe putting in Winslow, small ball kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see kind of as the day progresses what I hear and read about his status. But as of right now, probably not.
I would agree with you on that one. Yusuf Nurkic.
It's going to be tough. I say that because
Steven Adams is $400 cheaper going against Charlotte.
Yeah, you got Steven Adams there. You've even got Enes Kanter there. You've got Ayton there. I mean, there's a
lot there.
There's a lot there. So, plus, Nurkic is just so hit or miss. I mean, he puts up a 45 or he puts up like a 13 because he got in foul trouble in the warm-up lines at halftime. I mean, he just can't keep his hands to himself. And this is also like going to be a really fast-paced, up-tempo game. So all the things kind of point against him.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Brook Lopez.
I think at his price, he's worth a tournament shot. That's about it, though. I don't know if I can do much.
Yeah, I won't be playing Brook Lopez tonight. Love the matchup and everything. It's just, if I'm going to pay $5,700, I'm going to either go up a little bit more to Enes Kanter at 67, or I'm going to come down below 5K.
Yes, let's talk about the
Okay, so Cody Zeller actually did pretty well the other night. He's getting the bulk of those minutes. I don't pick. Mm-hmm. He's cheap. Okay, so let's do this.
Yeah.
He's cheap, but I don't make it a point to pick on guys going against Steven Adams. I'm sorry if that offends you. Not you, Bear, but the listeners. I'm sorry if that offends you, and you can do whatever you want and call me a homer, but Steven Adams is not a guy I want to pick on at the center position.
No, nor should you, and especially not with somebody that is not a physical center like Cody.
So it's just, I'm just not doing it.
So we can't ignore Tristan Thompson either, though. I know we talked about the other side of that matchup, but
Oh, I can ignore him.
You can, but we got to at least mention him because we're getting a lot of questions about him. I mean his numbers. I mean, you can't ignore him. I mean, he's been
fantastic this season.
He's been a monster. Yeah, he's been a monster.
I just am going to play the card that I think NB gets in his head.
Oh yeah, it's quite possible. But I think at that price, you might want to take a look. I mean, there's other options, obviously. So we're still. I think Alex Len went through shoot around. But he still remains questionable. If Alex Len sits, just play Dedmon and just move on. I mean, it's 5K versus Aaron Baines. I mean, Dedmon's really mobile. He's been playing really well. I like to play a lot without Len. If Len plays, it might be a little bit of a different situation. Well, it will be a different situation. So that's a different story. So just keep monitoring that. There's a couple guys down here that I've got some more interest in, and I've been kind of looking at them all day, and I'm like, ooh, that's interesting.
I want to ask about one guy. You say yes or no. Are you chasing Joval? Okay.
No.
I think one of the guys you're interested in here, let me see if I can spout this off and maybe hit.
Okay.
And I hope I'm wrong. Aaron Baines. Okay, good.
No.
We're on the same page there.
Yeah, they're gonna run Aaron Baines off the court. It's gonna be Morris. We know that. I'm looking more at Kevon Looney. They're still sitting, or Draymond Green's still sitting.
Yeah, he wasn't even in the facility this morning for shoot around.
Yeah, it's a tough situation there for multiple reasons. But yeah, so he's not going to be playing. Kerr loves him some Looney. Looney won me a pretty nice late night tournament the other night. But I mean, versus Portland, I mean, if they're not going to, so two things. First of all, if Nurkic does end up playing well and staying on the court and keeping out of foul trouble, they're going to need Looney to guard him. Second thing is, even if he doesn't, and the game stays close, they're going to need Looney as their center to rebound and block shots and go down low and do all
and they're not gonna put Aminu on Looney either, because it's either gonna be Nurkic or who's the other guy?
Leonard.
No, Collins.
They play. Well, so they've been playing a lot of Miles Leonard lately. I'm not sure what the deal there is. Yeah, they've been playing him a lot. I've been seeing his name on every game log now. But yeah, I mean, Collins certainly gets the minutes too. They play the both of them a lot. I don't know if Stotts is just kind of playing with what he's got, or I'm not sure what he's doing there. But either one of those two will probably have to guard Looney. It's probably going to end up being Miles Leonard because of his size. Looney's a big
Oh, I know, but so is John Collins. Okay, so want to talk a little bit about that. New York, that was that a blowout? No, that was Milwaukee. Okay, so Portland got absolutely just blown out of the building against Milwaukee. They lost by 43. Worst loss of the season.
Yikes.
And, you know, you could kind of see it coming. Long East Coast road trip, second night of a back-to-back, going up against a really good defensive team, day before Thanksgiving. I mean, all the cards were there, and that was why, on Wednesday, I told everybody I'm not playing Blazers. But so he's played 17 and 15 minutes the last two games. Collins is still played, so it's going to be a combination of the two playing the center position. It's probably going to be like a hot hand type of thing. And so that's kind of why I say that. I think Collins is more of the in the paint type of guy. Isn't going to stretch the floor, isn't going to be out there, shooting a ton of threes or anything like that. Whereas Myers Leonard, he got his big contract because he can shoot the three.
Right.
So now you've got me interested in Looney, because if he's going to play 22 to 25 minutes, if this game is close, he's 4K. I like him more on DraftKings, obviously, because he's not going to take up my only center spot. But if you're wanting to pay AD, if you're wanting to play Giannis and Durant and Russ, obviously not all in the same lineup, you're going to need some value. And punting center isn't the worst thing.
No, it's not. Considering this guy can actually put up 25 to 30.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not taking, like, Kerr and the Warriors just kind of threw up the white flag the other night. They got midway, down to the 4 or 5 minute mark, and they basically pulled their starters when Oklahoma City went up 20. But he still did very, very well. Now, he did most of his production when Steven Adams was off the court, and he did most of it against Patrick Patterson. But
right.
Patrick Patterson's more of a bigger body because these two guys are, I guess Leonard isn't as much of a twig as he used to be. These guys aren't going to be able to body with Kevon Looney in the block.
Right. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And that's intriguing to me, man.
I can see it, and I'm glad you kind of opened my eyes to that one. So I'm writing him down now. Okay, so there's one other guy I want to talk about here really, really quick, and that would be Tyson Chandler. And the reason I bring him up is he's 3,200 on DraftKings. He's been playing very well. He's going against Rudy Gobert, I know. $3,200 is very tough to pass up on DK on a 12-game slate if he's going to play 19 to 20 minutes. And it's not like Rudy Gobert has fully adjusted to the way that these guys are calling. If you're wanting to get off the chalk and fade guys like Daniel Tice and be around that range, and obviously not play Aaron Baines, I think Tyson Chandler holds serve on DK only, where he's obviously just 200 over the minimum.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got Chandler, you got Looney right there in the same, kind of range there. I don't. So I've got Tyson Chandler in a couple early builds here for the same reasons, and just a couple of things to kind of talk about as to why. So I've been getting the question a lot, like, what happened to JaVale McGee? Guy was like over 35 a game, blah, blah, blah. JaVale McGee is a guy that plays really well in spurts. He's not a 30-minute-a-game guy. He's just not. So having said that, I mean, they went and brought in another guy for that exact reason. And so for me, it's a situation where those guys are pretty much going to split the minutes, 22, 23, 24, each kind of thing, and it'll flip-flop depending on the pace of the game, depending on, small ball versus not. But those are their two, center by committee. So Chandler, he's, 4,200. I think I would rather pay 100 less and probably go Looney, but if you wanted to go Tyson Chandler, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all. I think it's a fantastic play.
Okay. I was just kind of wondering. So, I
would almost be remiss if I don't talk about. There's another point guard that I missed, and I feel bad that I missed it because he historically torches the Lakers. So I just wanted to bring up real quick Ricky Rubio, and his Lakers history is phenomenal. So just throwing that out there.
Huh. I didn't know that.
He kills us. He kills us. Like, all of a sudden, he's a jump shooter. like, really, bro? Where did that come from?
Holy cow and mama. I just pulled it up. Holy mackerel. Yeah. I kind of like that. Now, he didn't do so well in April, but he only played 18 minutes for whatever reason.
That was he pulled that was right when his hamstring injury happened and he went out for those few games.
Gotcha.
It was that game.
Yeah, because that's his low. If you take that game out, his low is a 27. And if you take that game out, his low is a 33. So yes, writing Ricky Rubio down right now. So you have given me Ricky Rubio and Kevon Looney. Is Looney Ricky or Ricky Looney? So, anything else you want to touch on before we get out?
Yeah, so I don't know if we brought it up, but another like low priced center is going to be Mike Muscala. So Muscala he's been putting up numbers, he's been getting the minutes, and he's been going like super silent for whatever reason. I mean, no one talks about him. If we look real quick at some of his recent games, he's 4K on FanDuel. So versus New Orleans, he only played 16 minutes, put up a 15, fine. Prior to that, versus Phoenix, 22 minutes, puts up 25 fantasy points. Prior to that, 36 minutes versus Charlotte, puts up 20. 31 minutes versus Utah, puts up 18. So, I mean, he's been getting the minutes. Obviously not, you're backing up Embiid there. It's what it is. But not something that I hate either.
Okay.
Especially if that game is not close, then he'll get even more run.
He was starting at the 4 for Wilson Chandler before his minutes restriction got lifted. And then when he went back to the bench, that's when everybody kind of started losing interest in him. But I can definitely see that. So it feels like a deeper tournament play for me. But
absolutely it is. Exactly
I can definitely see the merit in it. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us today. For me, myself, for Bear, for my boo, for the DFS Army, we are gone. Peace out.